the statement made by the deputy minority whip was made in the realm of the purported violation of the rights of the former finance minister. If my understanding of that statement serves me right, Mr. Speaker, then of course we have reason to ask ourselves which of the human rights provisions enshrined in Chapter 5 of the 1992 Constitution has been violated. That is the question. The maker of the statement cited a judicial decision in support of the statement. Now, that particular judicial decision, I didn't hear him well, but he mentioned Director of Prisons. That particular judicial decision relates to fair trial principles. But, Mr. Speaker, in the case of the Minister for Finance, he is not on trial. And so the principles enshrined in Article 19 of the Constitution will not apply to him for now. The closest we can come to, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the human rights provisions in our Constitution would be Article 15 of our Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, I will take you through Article 15. And I expect, with the greatest of respect, the minority leader to respect the fact that I am truly a human rights advocate, and he can bear testament to that fact. So let him not interrupt me when I am advancing my arguments.
Honorable Member, you are not interrupted in any manner. Address the chair.
Article 15 of our Constitution talks about the respect for human dignity. And this is what it says. The dignity of all persons shall be inviolable. 2, no person shall, whether or not he is arrested, restricted, or detained, be subjected to A, torture, or other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. B, any other condition that detracts or is likely to detract from his dignity and worth as a human being. It goes on and on and on, but those are the relevant provisions I want to relate to. Mr. Speaker, the question is, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta has not been arrested. He's not in the custody of the police. So how do we start talking about a violation of his right to human dignity? The steps that have so far been taken by the special prosecutor.
Honorable Stephen Amwa, let's listen to him in silence.
Mr. Speaker, the steps that have so far been taken by the special prosecutor is in accordance with law as prescribed under Article 18 of our Constitution. That same Article 18, Mr. Speaker, talks about the right to property and the fact that it shouldn't be interfered with, your property rights, your home, etc., etc. But Article 18 comes with an exception, where the state security apparatus decides to act in prevention of crime or in detection and punishment for crime, an exception is created under Article 18. So the question we should be asking ourselves is, even granted, assuming without admitting, the security agents stormed the house of Ken Ofori-Atta, we should be asking ourselves, did they obtain a warrant from court? Did they obtain a warrant from court? I think our colleagues on the other side should file an urgent question and determine for themselves whether they acted with a warrant or without a warrant before they draw certain conclusions. Now, Mr. Speaker, the special prosecutor has spoken. He says he extended an invitation to Ken Ofori-Atta, and his lawyers offered to present themselves for questioning. And he said, no, lawyers are not the subject of the investigation. So he wants to talk to Ken Ofori-Atta himself. Could this be the reason why agents of our state security apparatus stormed his home? Mr. Speaker, let me remark that when Honorable John Jinnapo's home was stormed, there was no prior invitation extended to him by any state security agency mandated to investigate any matter. Likewise, the home of Dominic Ayeni, the current Attorney General, was stormed, equally stormed. What was his crime? His crime was that he only wrote a legal opinion. A legal opinion warranted the storming of his home without a prior invitation from the police. These are the facts we should compare and contrast. And so, having said that, I did indicate that I, as a lawyer, a human rights advocate,
Honourable Member, conclude.
Who was struggling to establish for myself which of the provisions of our Constitution have been violated. I found none. Ofori-Atta can submit himself to the law for purposes of investigation, and when there are violations, I'll be the first to speak for and on his behalf. Not until then. He should be law-abiding, come back home, and engage with the special prosecutor so that the allegations that have been leveled against him can be dealt with. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.